Well, like you said, my name's Garfield Martin. I am a retired vet. I have three sons, one who is currently serving in the military at Fort Carson. I have um, a fiance. She getting married here shortly. What else? Oh, I am currently a elementary school counselor. I run a couple of different YouTube channels. I run a Consistency Fitness 365 Facebook, private Facebook group as well. So um, I'm doing a bunch of different things right now. But overall, I enjoy life. I enjoy working out on a consistent basis. I enjoy growing and I enjoy giving back. So you heard him call me Garfield Martin. Yes, that's my name. But the Uncle Junior is the name of my YouTube channel, the Uncle Junior Network. And I have a show on there called Elevated Dialogue, which Coach Dwayne was a part of last week.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking to be a part of it a lot more as well. Thank you for sharing that, man. And it's very interesting because we met through a mutual friend, Ken
Hmm.
Rice, very good friend of mine. Me and Ken, we were man. I think it was back in 1999 when we met, and we were both specialists and coming up through the army, man. And we were like accountability partners for one another. And the beautiful thing is that Ken introduced me to him and said, "Hey, man, you need to meet this guy."
Yeah.
And it just seems like once you and I met, man, we just vibed. Like, I mean, it was just like, man, we were in the same place right around the same time, never met. But the
Hmm.
beautiful thing about it is that we seem to have the same like vision, the same values and things of that nature. And it just kind of reminded me of the conversation last week about the wolf pack. I'm like, this is a guy that can actually be a part of my wolf pack. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want him to be a part of my wolf pack.
Good. I like that.
Yeah, so here we go. Right?
Hmm.
We're talking about the power of networking, and I think this is key because if you listen to that story I just told you, that's really what it was all about. So if you don't mind, kind of like give us your journey and how we got to this point to talk about networking.
Oh man. Networking. Well, I would say this. Being in the military for 20 years and just kind of sort of how I was brought up, I didn't really understand money or anything like that. So I just, was in the military and I was just doing. Um, and along the way, I started meeting people, and I noticed that certain people were officers and different things like that. They were like storing away money, and they were doing different things with their money. And I didn't really understand like why they were saving money for like when they're 80 or something. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna have money, so I'm gonna be getting a check for the rest of my life anyway. So and then I was around other people who didn't think about money. Um, so long story short, I started being around people who started talking about money, and then they started talking about networking, and they started talking about, having being connected to people who also are kind of sort of like-minded, to whereas you each have something to bring to the table, um, of value to kind of sort of help each other out and kind of support each other. So that's kind of sort of how I got introduced to networking in general. And then from doing some networking, I learned and got introduced to this person or that person who may have been able to help me. Um, so um, fast forward to about 3 weeks or so ago, I'm on Facebook. I get tagged in something. Kenneth was on my show not too long ago, and then he was like, "Hey," he had tagged me, he had tagged you, and was like, "You guys need to meet." So we ended up meeting, like you said. You was on the, we talked the first time. What for? Like, man, we talked for over an hour. I would say probably
Yeah,
about 2 hours or so.
yeah.
The first time we'd ever met each other, and the conversation was great. Like you said, we was in the same place at the same time. Different mind, I mean, same mindsets. Visions on certain things are similar. And like I said, man, when I met you, I was like, man, I can rock with this dude all day. I'm like, man, he got a beard. When you was on the show, man, it was like you added so much value to the show that we had that day. And I was like, man, I can't wait. I hope he's gonna want to jump on again. And all of that came through the network, and we hooked up. You was on the show, and then now here we are today. We had talked about it day one that we were going to exchange platforms.
Yeah.
um and that's the power of the network right there. Like we talked on my show about the wolf pack, similar terms. You know what I mean? You have a network, you have people that you can count on and rely on to be there for you for certain things, especially when it comes to business. Whether it be to bounce an idea off of, whether it be to be able to talk about something personal that only men go through, or that maybe not only men go through that, but that we may not even feel comfortable talking to our own girl about sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something we just don't want to talk to everybody about. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? But
Yeah.
if I know that, hey man, me and you about the same age, and we know we gotta go to the doctor, and we like, hey man, have you been to the doctor? I know you over 40. You know what I mean? I ain't even gotta say nothing else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We get the nod, or yeah, we already know where that conversation get ready to go. And if you a guy over 40, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to
Absolutely.
getting that physical. But I don't know. I kind of spun off, man. But that's kind of, as far as the journey, how we ended up getting here today.
No,
I wasn't too long-winded,
no,
man.
no. You're fine, brother. And you know what? It's an old cliche, and that cliche says it's not about what you know, it's who you know.
Hmm.
And for me, yeah, it makes sense, but I think it's a combination of both, right? Because when you look at the big picture, if you know the right person, that's perfect. But just because I know the right person, I got to be able to bring value to that.
Hmm.
And I think that's where opportunity meshes with what you bring to the table. It's an old saying that says, if you're preparing when opportunity not, it's not going to stick around, it's going to leave. So you need
Yeah.
to be ready before opportunity shows up. I know I said that wrong, but that's kind of like the gist of it.
Yeah, I get it.
Um, but so just going back to that conversation, like you mentioned, man, and I agree with you 100%. It was like, how can we help one another? And that's one of the things I really loved about that conversation. And that's the first thing that you put. He's like, how can I help you do what you're doing? And man, I so appreciate that, because again, you were already in the space that I was trying to venture into. And
Hmm.
that's kind of like what I'm saying. When opportunity presents, you need to be building, you need to have something already there that says, hey, you already got the foundations. Let me kind of help you get over the hump. Or how can I be a part to add value to what you already started? And,
Hmm.
and I think that's really where the network comes in. That what we don't want to be is, we don't want to be just like a blank slate, right?
Yeah.
Be a blank slate and then go and try to connect in a network, hoping that somebody's going to help you put something on your slate. No, you need to
Hmm.
start putting something on your slate on your own. And I so much like the way that you articulate your journey through the network, because like you, I was in the same boat. I remember being in the army, and I've had some lieutenants, and this was when E Trade was like first came out, and
Hmm.
one of them was like a real big E Trade on it. We was sitting there talking like, what is this E Trade thing he's working on? And he just started explaining it to us. Now I never ventured into E Trade, but it just kind of helped me to understand, how money actually works a little better
Hmm.
than what I had already known. So I greatly appreciate it.